The basketball court has seen its fair share of intense matchups, moments where sparks fly and rivalries take root. But the moment when Candace Parker, with her championship pedigree and storied career, tried to exert dominance over Caitlin Clark marked a scene that no one expected. The clash was not just a battle between two standout players, it was an encounter that seemed to ignite the crowd, raise eyebrows, and drop jaws across the basketball community. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Candace Parker, well established and respected as a force in women's basketball, carries a reputation built on skill, determination, and a deep understanding of the game. From her early days on the court, she had commanded attention with her powerful presence and sharp instincts. Parker is not one to back down or shy away from proving her superiority, and it's what made her an icon to fans and teammates alike. But there are moments when even the strongest need to tread carefully, and Parker's choice to try and rattle Caitlin Clark turned out to be one of those moments. Clark, on the other hand, is a young player who embodies the spirit of fearless competition. With a quick release, a confident dribble, and eyes that always seem to be scanning for an opening, she's made waves with her ability to take control of the game and lead defenders scrambling. While Parker's experience carved a path for her legacy, Clark's sheer audacity and youth breathed new life into the sport, creating a perfect storm for this encounter. The game was in full swing when Parker, seizing an opportunity, pushed her way into Clark's space. The crowd tensed as Parker made her move, shoulders squared, eyes locked, a slight smirk on her face, as if she already knew the outcome. But Clark's expression barely changed, a small, amused look flickering across her face for just a moment before she pushed back, not physically, but with the kind of play that speaks louder than shows or taunts. Clark's answer came in the form of a sharp, slicing drive that bypassed Parker's defense as if she weren't there. It wasn't the first time Parker had been crossed up, but the audacity with which Clark executed the move was enough to cause a ripple in the air. The arena's noise swelled, the kind of roar that signals something monumental just happened. Parker's eyes narrowed, a shift in her stance hinting that she was gearing up for a response. Instead of backing down or showing any sign of intimidation, Clark seemed to step up, bringing more flair and precision to her game. The next few plays were a mix of Parker trying to reclaim the upper hand and Clark, with a sly grin now planted on her face, matching every move with unyielding energy. Parker's efforts to assert her presence were met with resistance that came not with force, but finesse. The moments following were a series of rapid exchanges, Clark draining a three-pointer while Parker stood just a step too far, Parker retaliating with a contested shot that barely brushed the rim, and Clark winking at a teammate as if to say, "Is that all she's got?" These subtle gestures, so quick they were almost imperceptible, told a story of an old guard facing the storm of a new generation. It was clear that Parker was not used to this kind of pushback, at least not with such cheekiness. Her legacy had been built on earning respect through dominance. Clark, however, didn't seem interested in playing by those rules. She was here to rewrite them. The mismatch of approaches, Parker's reliance on a commanding presence and Clark's joyfully disruptive play, became the core of this clash. Parker's frustration started to show as the game wore on. A scowl here, a muttered word there. Traces of impatience cracked through her otherwise composed exterior. Clark, by contrast, was thriving on the energy, her movements getting bolder, her shots more daring. The spectators were divided, with some rooting for Parker's veteran wisdom and others swept up by Clark's electric defiance. One moment in particular left everyone in stunned silence. Parker, after finally landing a shot through Clark's aggressive guarding, turned back with an intense glare that lasted just a beat too long. Clark's response was not verbal, nor did it come with a dramatic gesture. Instead, it was the calm and cold-blooded way she sank a three-pointer in the very next play, eyes straight, expression neutral, as if Parker's attempt to intimidate had only fueled her further. The impact was as clear as the gasp that ran through the stands. The subtext was undeniable. The student had challenged the master, and the master was scrambling for an answer. As the game reached its final moments, the energy was palpable. Parker, despite her best efforts, found herself in a position she hadn't experienced in a long time, unsure. She had faced the greats, outmaneuvered legends, but here she was, struggling against a player who hadn't been a fixture in the league for decades, but played as if she had nothing to lose and everything to prove. The buzzer's final sound brought an end to the battle, but the air still crackled with tension. Parker's face showed a mix of disbelief and begrudging respect. She walked off the court with her head held high, but the tightness in her jaw betrayed her true feelings. Clark, on the other side, What a face of someone who knew she had just been through an important test and passed with flying colors. In the moments after the game, people were already dissecting what this meant for both players. Parker's attempt to play mind games had backfired, leading to a realization that she couldn't muscle her way through every challenge, especially not against a player like Clark who thrived on that exact confrontation. Clark's performance solidified her status as more than just a rising star. She was now someone even the seasoned pros needed to think twice about. The implications were significant. Parker, with her storied career, was no longer untouchable in the eyes of many. Clark, a new name in a long line of hopefuls, had shown she was more than hype. The game was a subtle shift, an unspoken handover that resonated far beyond the court. The torch hadn't been passed, but Parker now knew there was someone reaching for it, ready to snatch it when the time came. For Parker, the weight of the game couldn't be shrugged off as easily as some of her past battles. Sure, she had faced fierce competitors before, but this time felt different. The veteran pride she carried had been dinged, not just by Clark's talent, but by her audacious refusal to be intimidated. Parker had built her career on resilience and adaptability, overcoming challenges that would have sent many players into obscurity. Yet now there was a new challenge, one that wasn't about overpowering, outsmarting, or simply outplaying. It was about facing a type of unflappable boldness that even she found hard to rattle. Clark, on the other side, liked to went to bed that night knowing she'd not only faced a giant, but had made her stumble. This wasn't about showboating or trying to humiliate an opponent. It was about proving that she belonged on that stage, toe-to-toe with the legends. The unshakable poise she displayed wasn't accidental. It was the product of relentless practice and a mindset that saw every challenge as just another obstacle to sidestep on her way to the basket. Her performance was the manifestation of a player who learned early that hesitation had no place on the court. Every shot taken with confidence, every bold step into Parker's territory, was a testament to her belief in herself. The encounter didn't just captivate fans but also shifted dynamics within the sport. Younger players and up-and-comers found inspiration in Clark's fearless attitude. It sent a message that respect was earned not just by years in the league, but by proving, play by play, that you could go toe-to-toe with the greats. The shift was subtle yet significant. Parker's response in future games would be under a microscope, with analysts, fans, and opponents waiting to see if she would adjust her game, tighten her grip, or embrace a different approach against the new generation of challengers. While Parker carried on with the same fierce dedication that marked her career, the moment wasn't forgotten. It became a new chapter in her long story, a reminder that even titans can be tested. Clark, on the other hand, continued her ascent, eyes locked forward, but with a certain respect now trailing her footsteps. She was no longer just a rising star. She was the player who stood unblinking against one of the best and emerged unscathed. The game was over, but its implications echoed. It was more than just a clash of skill. It was the embodiment of a cycle in sports where the past meets the future, and both learn from the encounter. For Parker, it was a reminder to never underestimate the power of raw, fearless ambition. For Clark, it was the assurance that she had what it took to play among the best and push them to their limits. And for the fans, it was a story worth remembering. A game that was more than just points on the scoreboard. It was a changing of the guard in its most thrilling form. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.